Today we gather in this sanctuary as we have so many times before. But we find ourselves in a world where we can no longer take for granted the freedom we have to worship. We must ask the question, are Bible-believing Christians in danger of losing the liberty of practicing their faith? Do we now live in a world where those who believe and obey the Ten Commandments run the risk of being declared enemies of the state? A few years ago, this question would have seemed extreme. Today, it cannot be ignored. Right now, in Iran, a radical Islamic regime holds an American citizen, Pastor Saeed Abedini, in prison. What's he charged with? His crime? Preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ in the home of a fellow Iranian. Will there come a day when this same statement will be made of a pastor in the United States? When our government has now legalized by a vote of 5-4 what God calls an abomination, and Bible believers cannot, based on spiritual conviction, condone or support, are we forced to ask ourselves who is on the Lord's side? We live in a country not sworn to establish the law of Sharia, not devoted to wiping Israel off the map, not committed to establishing a global caliphate. But we live in a nation that was established on these rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our government is not sworn in to tell us what to believe. Our government is not sworn in to give us how we should live. Our government is sworn to uphold and to defend a constitution that establishes these freedoms in its very First Amendment: the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, the freedom of assembly, and the right to petition. What happened to the America that our forefathers prayed for? What happened to the America that our grandfathers fought and died for? What happened to the America that our fathers entrusted us with? How have we become so desensitized that the marketing of the harvested organs of aborted children does not create an outrage, and yet we're so sensitive that the statement "one nation under God" is too offensive to leave in the pledge? How have we become so confused that we celebrate one athlete's sex change and call it courageous, and we boo another athlete's willingness to bend his knee in the end zone and thank God for his physical strength and ability? We call an act of terrorism on an army base workplace violence, and we identify someone who goes to church, reads his Bible, and owns a gun an extremist. We give $500 million a year to the murderous organization Planned Parenthood, who in the name of science take the dollars that you earn at your job and use them to sell the severed heads of unborn children. And then we turn around and threaten churches with the loss of their tax-exempt status if they refuse to bless sodomy at their altars and teach it to their children in their schools. We cannot ignore this difficult question any longer. Today, I'm speaking on the topic, the enemy of the state, and I'm asking you this question: whose side are you on? Stand for the reading of God's word.